Okay, this one is titled The Rise of Big Business, and it's going to tell us about all those guys who got it and made it big during this time period. Okay, so the rise of big business. By 1900, big business dominated the economy of the United States. They formed corporations, and a corporation is an organization owned by many people but treated by law as though it is a single entity. They had stockholders, and these people who own the corporation, they all have shares of ownership called stock. Issuing stock would allow a corporation to raise large sums of money, but spreads out the financial risks so people do not necessarily lose all their money. Okay, from the sale of stock, corporations could invest in new technologies to increase their efficiency and make more money. So by making goods quicker and cheaper, these corporations achieved economies of scale. Which is all businesses have two kinds of costs. Okay, you have fixed costs, which are the costs the company has to pay whether it's operating or not. Examples of fixed costs would be loans, mortgages, and taxes. They also have their operating costs. These occur when a company is in operation. They include wages, shipping charges, and supplies. Big corporations had an advantage over smaller manufacturing companies. Big corporations could produce more cheaply, and they could continue to operate even in poor economic times by cutting prices to increase their sales. Many small businesses with high operating costs at this time were forced out of business. So one of the things industries like to do, they like to try to consolidate their industries. So competition between corporate leaders would cause lower prices for the consumers, but it also cut business profits. Okay, so to stop prices from falling, companies organize pools or agreements to keep prices at a certain level. Pools usually did not last long. As soon as one member cut prices, the pool would break apart. So by the 1870s, competition had reduced industries to a few large and highly efficient corporations. Andrew Carnegie, who was a poor Scottish immigrant, worked his way up from the bobbin boy in a textile factory of the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad. He invested much of his money in the railroad-related businesses and later owned his own business. He opened a steel company in 1875 and quickly adapted his steel mills to use the Bessemer process. Carnegie began what was called vertical integration of the steel industry, and a vertically integrated company owns all the different businesses it depends on for its operation. So from the bottom to the top, from the raw material all the way to the finished good. This not only saved money, but also made the big company bigger. So business leaders also pushed for horizontal integration, combining many firms doing the same type of business into one large corporation. So when this happens, a monopoly can occur, and this is when one company gains control of an entire market. Okay, in the late 1800s, Americans became suspicious of the large corporations and feared the monopolies. Many states made it illegal for a company to own stock in another company without permission from the state legislature. In 1882, the Standard Oil formed the first trust, which merged businesses without violating laws against owning other companies. A trust allowed a person to manage another person's property, so a holding company did not produce anything itself. So instead, it owned the stock of companies that did produce the goods. The holding company controlled all the companies it owned, merging them all into one large enterprise. Okay, that concludes our discussion about the rise of big business, and make sure you pay special attention to vertical and horizontal integration, and maybe read up a little bit more about Andrew Carnegie. Okay, be sure to take your Edmodo quiz, and it is due on Thursday. Thank you. Bye.